Welcome back into Wave Listens Live. I'm Michael Vanover, joined now by a familiar face to the program, attorney Tad Thomas with Thomas Law Offices. Tad, welcome back into the show.
Good to see you.
Good to have you here again. For the folks at home that maybe aren't familiar with your firm, could you just give us a brief overview of all the different service lines that you guys have?
Yeah, so we started here in Louisville, and we've got 5 offices. We cover a lot of states, though, but mostly we do personal injury litigation. We work on anything from a car wreck to nursing home neglect and abuse to medical malpractice.
And before we get into the rest of the interview today, let's talk a little bit about this wrongful death case that's been in the news, and some people may have heard about it, involving Disney. Can you kind of just bring us up to speed on what's going on there?
Yeah, it's a really tragic case. A husband and wife go to have a meal at Disney. She has a severe nut allergy. They advertise that they accommodate for allergies. She specifically asks, hey, and lets them know she has an allergy. Well, she eats contaminated food and ends up dying from that. But to make matters worse, Disney has said you can't sue us. You have to go to something called arbitration, which is a closed process. In a lot of ways, I feel it's a rigged process. But not because of an arbitration clause she signed trying to go to Disney World. She signed up for a Disney Plus free account. Actually, it was her husband that signed up for it. It wasn't even her. And Disney said, no, you don't get to sue us in court. You have to go to arbitration because of an arbitration clause that she would have never read, never signed, that is not even related to the party.
I was going to say that has something completely different.
Absolutely.
That's interesting. So
yeah.
We'll have to keep an eye on how that case progresses. But I think it's important that people know what that means.
Yeah, because these arbitration clauses are in every contract that you sign almost, whether it's your cell phone, your utility bill, things like that. Most of all, where it impacts my cases is in nursing home cases where someone goes and signs paperwork to admit their loved one into a nursing home, and they sign these arbitration clauses when they don't have to. And what happens is it takes essentially a constitutional right away, so that you can't go into court, you can't have a public hearing to talk about what happened to your family member. So I advise all my clients or anyone that asks, do not sign these arbitration clauses if you can help it.
If you can help it, absolutely. As many people know here in the community, your firm is handling the Old National Bank case. People obviously want to know how that's progressing. What kind of an update can you give us?
Yeah, so some of the defendants have filed what we call a motion to dismiss, saying that as a matter of law, we can't succeed in the lawsuit. And there are certain federal laws that protect gun manufacturers from lawsuits, saying that they shouldn't be sued when someone uses their gun in a crime. There are certain exceptions to that, and we don't believe it applies to all of the defendants in this case. So that's been filed, and we're going to have argument on that in front of the court here in the next couple months. And hopefully on behalf of these families, we're able to prevail and get justice for them.
Yeah, I know one thing about you, you're not going to quit. So you're going to keep pushing. That's what you do. Again, Thomas Law Offices, Tad joining us. Phone number and the website on the screen there, thomaslawoffices.com. So, you talked about being in 5 states. You talk about really working in a lot of the country. It's basically like it's a national firm here in Louisville, which is awesome, with home base here in Louisville, I should say. When you look at your cases as a whole, both here and around the country, are there any common themes or things that you're seeing across some of the major cases that you're handling right now?
Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing is we're coming out of the summer, so we've seen all kinds of cases over the summer that involve summer type activities, and now that we're going to be moving into the winter type activities, you're going to start seeing more of that. But the arbitration clauses is something that we see often, where defendants try to get out of being held accountable by getting out of the court system. And they talk about frivolous lawsuits, but really what's happening is these big companies are trying to find ways to not be held accountable. A jury is what we call the smallest form of government. It's local people in the local jurisdiction where something happened, and they should decide what's right and wrong. They should decide how a case should come out. It shouldn't be a single arbitrator, retired judge, or whatever who's doing this behind closed doors, where no one actually gets to see what actually happened and what wrongdoing there was.
And it seems like that's why they threw it in with the Disney Plus thing. There's a reason.
There's a reason. And in a lot of instances, the Supreme Court has upheld these clauses. So it's really up to Congress to get these changed. We were able to get, one of the national organizations I work with was able to get changes to the law in sexual assault and sexual harassment cases. You maybe remember Gretchen Gretchen Carlson was sexually harassed and assaulted and was not able to sue her employer in that case. And she kind of rose up, and because of her popularity, helped us get legislation through that in those cases they don't go to arbitration now. They actually go to court.
That's great in that case, and hopefully other ones to come.
Sure.
One of the things we talk about with the firm, you guys love to give back to this community and other communities. Talk about some give back initiatives that are going on right now with Thomas Law Offices.
You know, that's one of the things I love about what we do. Just last week, I was out in Columbia, Missouri, and we did an event at the Boys and Girls Club with the Mizzou quarterback, and we gave away a ton of tennis shoes to kids at the club, and he signed everything for them.
Awesome.
And there was even one kid that was thinking about dropping out of playing football. He was a high school footballer, and was really hesitant about playing this year. And once he saw Brady, got to talk to Brady, he was like reinvigorated about playing. So I'm really excited about him and his season. And I'm going to be on the show, I guess, next week, really talking about the Animal Care Society event that's coming up. The Animal Care Society is one that we've done in Louisville for several years in a row now, and so we're going to be helping out with that event, and we're going to be doing other ones. We want to do things in every community where we have cases, and so that's why we did Missouri. We're doing Louisville. We're going to do Chicago and Cincinnati as well.
I love it, man. I mean, giving back to the kids and helping out the puppies. I mean, those are things that matter and mean so much to so many people. So we appreciate what you do for this community and the communities around the country, as you said. So again, if you need really most any legal service, Thomas Law Offices, give them a call, 502-473-6540, or visit thomaslawoffices.com. Ted, thanks for being here as always.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we've got more to get to when we come back. Stay with us on Wave Listens Live.
Take the guesswork out of your morning routine with your What to Wear forecast from meteorologist Tawana Andrew.